Isabella Silverthorn. The crimson dust of Ceres clung to everything: my boots, the viewport of the embassy, even the inside of my nostrils. I, Isabella Duskwind, though most call me Silverthorn ambassador for the Sol Federation, wasn't exactly thrilled with my posting. Asteroid mining wasn't glamorous. It was utilitarian. But the Federation needed the helium-3, and Ceres was rich with it. Still, I dreamed of Vega, of true interstellar diplomacy, of negotiating treaties with civilizations beyond the belt. I'd spent years climbing the ranks, mastering xenolinguistics, anticipating that posting. Instead, here I was, mediating disputes between mining consortiums, and ensuring the flow of resources back to Earth. The message from command came just as I was reviewing a particularly tedious trade agreement, a distress signal, originating from the newly discovered asteroid, Ethelred, a massive deposit of platinum, and something else, something they weren't telling me. My chance, perhaps. A chance to prove myself beyond dust and quotas. Ethelred was a ghost, barely registering on long-range scans. The mining consortium, Nova Galactic, had been operating there for weeks, extracting the platinum with automated drones. But then, silence. No communication, no telemetry. My ship, the Stardust, cut through the void, approaching the asteroid. What I found wasn't a mechanical failure. It was a disruption. The asteroid's electromagnetic field pulsed erratically. The drones were intact, but frozen in place, their programming corrupted. Nova Galactic's chief engineer, a gruff man named Petrov, insisted it was a solar flare, but the radiation levels were negligible. As we delved deeper into Ethelred's interior, we found the source. A crystalline structure, unlike anything I'd ever seen. It resonated with an energy that felt ancient, intelligent. Petrov wanted to dismantle it, to understand its composition. I cautioned against it. Something felt profoundly wrong. My gut, honed by years of political maneuvering, screamed at me to retreat. But the Federation wanted answers. And I, Silverthorn, was tasked with finding them. We continued the excavation, ignoring the unsettling hum that now permeated the asteroid. The crystalline structure was vast, a network of interconnected chambers stretching deep into Ethelred's core. As we breached the central chamber, a wave of energy washed over us, and the structure awakened. Holographic projections flickered to life, depicting a civilization unlike any recorded in Federation databases. They weren't biological. They were constructs, beings of pure energy, who had seeded asteroids throughout the belt with these crystalline structures, energy repositories, and communication hubs. The projections showed their downfall: a catastrophic energy drain, a parasitic entity consuming their power. And then, a warning. The entity was returning. We had activated the structure, drawing its attention. Petrov, ecstatic, believed we'd stumbled upon the greatest discovery in human history. He declared his intention to establish a permanent research base, to harness the structure's power. I argued against it, pointing out the warning, the potential danger. But he dismissed my concerns as political paranoia. He'd contacted the Federation, claiming a breakthrough, securing funding and reinforcements. He'd won. Or so he thought. The reinforcements arrived quickly, a heavily armed Federation cruiser, the Invictus. Petrov, basking in the glory of his discovery, oversaw the construction of the research base. The energy flowing from the crystalline structure was indeed immense, powering advanced technologies beyond our comprehension. But the warnings hadn't been heeded. The entity, a swirling vortex of dark energy, began to manifest not as a physical being, but as a corruption, a virus within the asteroid systems, and within the minds of the crew. Petrov, once a pragmatic engineer, became obsessed with the entity, convinced it was a benevolent force, offering unlimited power. He began to sabotage the base's defenses, disabling the energy shields, opening communication channels. He believed he was negotiating with a god. I tried to reason with him, to warn the captain of the Invictus, but I was dismissed as a dissenting voice. The entity was turning the crew against each other, sowing paranoia and distrust. The Invictus was vulnerable, a sitting duck. Ethelred was no longer a source of power, but a trap. I managed to override the base's security systems, sending a coded distress signal to Federation Command, detailing the entity's true nature and Petrov's betrayal. It was a long shot, but it was all I had left. Then, I did something reckless. I reactivated the crystalline structure's defense protocols, a failsafe designed to contain parasitic entities, but also capable of overloading the system. It was a gamble, potentially destroying Ethelred and everyone on it. But it was the only way to sever the entity's connection to the Invictus. The structure pulsed with blinding energy, the asteroid shuddered, and the entity screamed, a sound that echoed through my very bones. The overload worked. The entity was forced back into the void, the Invictus's systems rebooted, and Petrov, shaken from his delusion, finally understood the danger he'd unleashed. Ethelred was scarred, its energy reserves depleted, but it was contained. I was reprimanded for my unauthorized actions, but the Federation acknowledged the threat. My report, detailing the encounter, was classified, but it caught the attention of someone high up. A message arrived a week later, a transfer order. Vega. My dream, finally within reach. The dust of Ceres was behind me, replaced by the promise of stars. Sometimes, it takes a near disaster to prove your worth, and to finally earn your place among the diplomats of the Federation.